Have you ever felt that sudden jolt of adrenaline, when you sense danger, or maybe the opposite, that wave of comfort from a familiar smell that just takes you right back? Ever wondered what's really going on inside your head during those moments?
Yeah, those powerful, almost automatic reactions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, today we're taking a deep dive into a part of the brain that's small but, wow, incredibly influential. We're talking about the limbic system. Our mission, and we're drawing heavily from a really clear Cleveland Clinic article here, is to unpack this amazing region. We want to look at its ancient roots, understand its functions, which are pretty crucial, and see how it impacts, well, almost everything, from our basic survival instincts right up to our daily sense of well-being.
And it's fascinating, truly, how these different structures, all interconnected, act like a central hub. They link our past reactions, our present feelings, and even what motivates us for the future. It's like this silent conductor, shaping so much of what makes us us.
Okay, let's unpack that. A central hub. You mentioned it's a group of structures, relatively small, but the article stresses it's doing some real heavy lifting. So, what exactly is the limbic system? Why is it so important?
Right. So basically, the limbic system is a collection of interconnected brain structures. Their main job is regulating your emotions, your behavior, motivation, and also memory. And yeah, it's not large in terms of physical size, but its role, huge. It helps you interact with the world. It doesn't work in isolation either. It's constantly talking to other brain regions. It processes memories, thoughts, motivations, and then essentially tells your body how to respond, how to adapt.
Okay, and exploring that,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes clear pretty quickly. This isn't some new feature, is it? It feels like it's been part of our brain setup for a very, very long time. Deep evolutionary roots.
That's a really key point. It is one of the oldest structures in the brain. Think of it like an ancient blueprint. Its original primary role was all about producing those instincts our ancestors absolutely needed for survival.
Like what kind of instincts?
The real basics, triggering the drive to eat and drink, to reproduce, to care for young. And crucially, that instant reaction to your surroundings, the fight or flight response, essential stuff.
So it's fundamental.
Absolutely. It's not just about survival in a basic sense. It's the evolutionary foundation that allowed for more complex things later on, like learning, social bonds, even abstract thought. It's like the old hardware still running our modern human software.
The article also calls it the emotional nervous system. That's a pretty evocative term. Why that specific label?
Yeah, emotional nervous system really captures it. It's because there's such a direct, undeniable link between your physical state and your emotional well-being. You see the limbic system in action when, say, you feel that intense pleasure from comfort food. That's it working.
Oh, okay.
But it's also the reason your blood pressure might spike when you're feeling stressed or anxious. It connects those internal feelings to very real physical responses, often completely unconsciously.
Right. And it's not just about those raw reactions, is it? You mentioned it works with other brain parts.
Exactly. It integrates heavily with other regions for more sophisticated tasks. Things like speaking, forming those new memories we talked about, managing complex emotions, planning ahead, making decisions. So it's not just immediate gut reactions. It's deeply woven into our higher thought processes, enabling the complex things we do every day. Higher mental function relies on it.
Okay, so if this system is so fundamental, what does that translate to for us day to day? What are the specific jobs it's handling?
Well, on a daily basis, its main functions really boil down to processing and managing your emotions, your behaviors, your motivations, and your memory. And critically, it also manages your autonomic nervous system.
The automatic pilot, you called it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It handles all those vital things you don't consciously control. Your heart rate, blood pressure, even keeping your body temperature stable. All that background work.
And beyond the autonomic stuff.
It helps control how you feel and respond to different situations, different stimuli, especially input from your senses. Think sight, sound, touch. It regulates hunger and thirst signals. It manages your responses to pain and pleasure, even sexual arousal. And it's adaptive. It manages your actions based on what it learns from your environment. It takes in info, processes it, learns, reacts, constantly refining how you respond, making you more efficient.
Wow. It really does sound like a central command center, constantly tweaking our experience of being human. Okay, we've got a handle on what it does, but where is it? Where in the brain is this system located, and who are the main players, the key components?
Location-wise, it's tucked away deep inside your brain, specifically within the forebrain. That's the largest part of your brain, handling everything from conscious thought to sensory stuff. The parts themselves kind of form the shape of a closed fist right in the middle of the forebrain.
And the name limbic.
Ah, yeah, limbic. Comes from the Latin word limbus, which means border. It got that name because of its position. Its structures sit right on the border, just above the brainstem, but underneath the cerebral cortex, that outer wrinkly layer responsible for higher thinking.
Interesting. So who are the main players according to the Cleveland Clinic source? The core structures.
The article highlights 4 main structures, each with really specialized jobs. Let's start with the hypothalamus.
Okay.
Think of this as your body's master regulator, like an internal thermostat. It's constantly monitoring and adjusting things like your mood, hunger, thirst.
Mm.
Also critical functions, blood pressure, body temp, heart rate. Plus, it produces hormones crucial for sleep and sexual arousal. Tiny structure, massive balancing act.
Wow. Okay, number 2.
Then you've got the amygdala. This often gets called the brain's emotional fire alarm,
Fire alarm.
because it plays a huge role in how you experience and process emotions, especially the strong ones, anxiety, anger, fear. It's also vital for memory, particularly emotional memories, and for interpreting social cues, reading others. So yeah, it's a rapid response emotional center.
Makes sense. What's next?
Next is the thalamus. This acts like a major relay station in the brain. It processes almost all sensory information, hearing, taste, sight, touch, before sending it on to other brain areas for more detailed interpretation. It also chips in with memory, planning, and emotions, directing the sensory traffic, basically.
Okay, the relay station.
Hmm?
And the last of the main 4.
Finally, the hippocampus. This one is specifically responsible for your ability to form new memories.
Crucial for learning that.
Absolutely. Think of it as the brain's librarian, constantly filing away new experiences and facts into your long-term storage. Without a healthy hippocampus, imagine trying to build a personal history, learn from experiences. Even remembering breakfast would be a challenge.
That really underscores its importance.
Oh, okay.
That covers the big 4. But, speaking of sensory triggers, what about smell? We know scents can trigger such powerful memories and feelings. Is the olfactory bulb part of this system?
That's a great question, and it comes up a lot because those smell memory links are so vivid. Technically, your sense of smell originates in the olfactory bulb, and that's not usually considered a core part of the limbic system itself.
Oh, okay.
However, it interacts very, very closely with it. That's precisely why a specific scent can instantly make you recall a detailed memory and the strong emotions tied to it. It directly feeds into the limbic system's functions.
Oh, it's connected even if not technically part of it.
Exactly. And it's not just smell. Many of your other senses also send signals through the limbic system so your body can react in that integrated way we talked about.
Given all these critical roles, emotions, memory, behavior, I have to assume that if this system isn't working right, it can cause some pretty significant problems. What kind of conditions affect the limbic system?
You're absolutely right. And because its functions are so widespread, it's probably not surprising that almost all mental health conditions and conditions affecting memory involve the limbic system in some way. The article lists several common ones. Alzheimer's disease, for instance, various anxiety disorders, depression, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Also schizophrenia, general issues with stress, and substance use disorder, SUD.
That's a wide range.
It really is. It's quite sobering to think how many struggles, from memory issues to anxiety, might trace back to the balance within this system.
And what would the symptoms look like if something's affecting part of the limbic system?
The symptoms can be really impactful. You might see significant mood changes like persistent irritability, maybe anger, intense fear, or deep sadness. Obvious memory loss is another key sign. Sleep problems too, either sleeping way too much or struggling to sleep at all, and noticeable changes in behavior.
So if someone's dealing with issues like that, how does a doctor check the health of their limbic system? What's the process?
Well, depending on the specific symptoms, a healthcare provider has a few options for diagnosis. They might do a neurological exam, looking at brain and nerve function, or a neuropsychological exam, which focuses more on cognitive abilities like memory and thinking skills. A psychological evaluation is common too. And then there are imaging tests, like an MRI magnetic resonance imaging, which gives a detailed picture of the brain structures themselves.
Okay. And once there's a diagnosis, what about treatment?
Treatment really varies depending on what the issue is, but common approaches could include specific medications, different forms of counseling or therapy. Relaxation techniques can be helpful, things like yoga or deep breathing exercises. And in some more severe or treatment-resistant cases, they might consider deep brain stimulation, or DBS. That involves implanting tiny electrodes in specific brain areas.
Right. It sounds like besides treatment, prevention, or just, general upkeep is important too. How can we proactively keep this vital system healthy?
That's a fantastic point. It really comes back to that fundamental link between physical and emotional health that the limbic system perfectly illustrates. The article gives some really practical tips. Things like eating nutritious, balanced meals, getting regular exercise super important, spending quality time with people you enjoy being around.
Social connection.
Exactly. Also, making time for activities you genuinely enjoy, avoiding recreational drugs, taking breaks when you feel overwhelmed or stressed. Managing any underlying health conditions you have is key too. And, importantly, not hesitating to talk to a mental health professional if you need support. These aren't just generic health tips, they directly help maintain the balance within your limbic system. They build resilience.
That's really helpful. It feels like we've covered a lot of ground on this essential brain system.
Yeah.
But is everything settled science here? Are there things researchers are still debating or figuring out about the limbic system?
Ugh, that's where it gets even more interesting.
Uh,
Even with everything we do know, the scientific community is always refining its understanding. And yeah, there's actually some ongoing debate about the limbic system itself. The Cleveland Clinic article touches on this controversy.
Controversy, like what?
Well, for one thing, some researchers argue that other brain structures should be included as part of the limbic system beyond those main four we discussed.
Well, which was?
They propose additions like the basal ganglia. Those are involved in reward, emotions, movement, learning. Then there's the cingulate gyrus, which is important for emotional and social behaviors like empathy, imagining how someone else feels. Also, the insula cortex. That's crucial for internal body awareness, like when you feel your heart pound or your stomach clench with fear, those gut feelings.
Okay, so linking internal states.
Right. And the orbitofrontal cortex, connecting reward centers to actions and judging appropriateness. And the entorhinal cortex, which plays a big role in memory formation, especially spatial memory.
So areas involved in reward, empathy, gut feelings.
Exactly. The debate isn't just about adding names to a list. It really challenges our definition of a system in the brain. How interconnected are these functions? If we include the insula, for example, how does that change our view of the limbic system's role in intuition or body awareness? There's genuine disagreement in the scientific community about whether these components really fit the current definition of the limbic system.
And is the name itself debated? Limbic system.
Yes, that too. It raises the question, is limbic system still the best, most accurate label? There's conflict over whether the term fully captures the complexity of this area's functions. In fact, many providers are actually starting to phase out the term. They prefer to use the specific names of the individual brain parts involved instead.
Mm.
It just shows that even in established neuroscience, definitions are always evolving as we learn more about these incredibly intricate, overlapping brain networks.
It really does highlight just how complex and dynamic our brains are. Always more to discover about this amazing organ. So we've really taken a journey today deep into the brain, exploring this remarkable limbic system. We've looked at its ancient roots in survival, its intricate dance with our emotions, our memories, our motivations, how it shapes our responses to absolutely everything around us.
Indeed. Its impact is so profound, so varied across our daily experience. It really underscores how interconnected our biology is with our subjective reality, our inner world. It's a powerful reminder of the brain's elegant, if sometimes messy, design.
And as researchers keep exploring, keep debating the boundaries and functions of this vital system, here's something to think about. How might knowing more about your own limbic system's workings, its ancient programming, those emotional triggers, its role in your memories, how might that awareness empower you? Could it help you better understand your own reactions, maybe manage stress more effectively, or even enhance how you learn and connect? Could understanding this internal border system, with its fire alarm, amygdala, and librarian hippocampus, give you new tools for self-awareness? Perhaps a fresh perspective on your own inner world.